Hello everyone, I'm Tom.
Hello, and I'm Alim. And we're here today to discuss how to create student entrepreneurship here at Gallaudet.
So how do we create a culture of student entrepreneurship at Gallaudet? I think we have a great example right next door here to us on H Street Northeast. H Street has a fantastic history. It was one of the most popular and busy and vibrant areas of town in Washington. Then in 1968, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, we had the riots, we had buildings burned to the ground, and the area's economy plummeted. Recently, the area has figured out how to reinvent himself, and now it's one of the most successful and active areas for nightlife and restaurants and things. And so it's an area that has a rich history, and it's reinvigorated itself. Gallaudet was established in 1864 as the college for deaf people, and it has a long history. The ADA was established or passed in 1989, and it ensured deaf people with access. And so deaf people go anywhere, but Gallaudet is still the world's only university for deaf students. And so the interpreters and note takers and things like that are available other places, but Gallaudet is still a special place. So we have to reinvent ourselves and become more relevant and compelling.
And today's generation of students bring laptops, bring mobile phones, and bring a variety of things into the classroom. And they're not really willing to just sit there and listen to a lecturer. And that's not the way to invigorate students and bring them into our universities. We really need to draw upon their experience and draw upon a variety of different strategies to move forwards. We often hear things like, it's impossible to do, it will take too much time, we don't have enough money. And often here on campus, people are in their comfort zones, faculty and staff. They don't necessarily want to rock the boat, and that influences students. They don't want to go out there in the big wide world and see what opportunities they can grasp. And so we end up making decisions for them, but they're not necessarily the most appropriate for our students to benefit from what's out there in the future. So our aim is to really try and look to the future. We see massive technological, economic and social changes, and we need to prepare our students to be able to fit into that world and make an impact in the world around us. In other universities, they face the same challenges. How can we attract students? How can we prepare them for the future? In H Street, we've seen a variety of developments, lots of entrepreneurship, lots of innovative ideas. And I think as faculty and staff, we really need to support our students in guiding them to take risks. Making mistakes is okay. And what we're here to do is support them through that process. So here we see somebody climbing out of the box, starting to think about how to set up ideas. The most important thing to remember is not even the sky is the limit. We can make change happen here at Gallaudet.
Throws 3 years ago, Alim and I met, and we realized we shared similar ideas and thoughts about all of these things, and we decided to talk about how we can improve the experience for Gallaudet students. And we wanted to think outside the box. We met a professor from Georgetown University named Sarah Stiles, and she teaches social entrepreneurship at Georgetown. And we learned about an organization that she runs called Compass Partners. And Compass Partners provides resources and things like that to small business, and we went to a conference where hundreds of students from all over the country came together to share ideas on how they've set up businesses and to share ideas and the excitement and share the commitment of these young people. And it was really inspiring for both of us. And the solution became clear. We need to create a culture of entrepreneurship in order to promote the social justice that we're all concerned about. Social entrepreneurship is an attempt to solve enduring social problems in sustainable and self-supporting ways through the model of business entrepreneurship. And so in social entrepreneurship, we help students figure out where their problems are and what they're passionate about. And it might be discrimination, it might be climate change, and really it doesn't matter. It could be anything that the students are particularly interested in. And then we work with them to help establish a business in order to resolve these problems. So many universities have established programs like this for business majors and minors in working on social entrepreneurship. The University of Maryland has done this. Johns Hopkins University has done this. American University, Georgetown, George Mason. Many universities here in the area have done this, and we're excited about collaborating with them.
And so in the box you see two shoes. The black shoes represent faculty and staff, and then the sneakers represent the present students. And the idea is that we really do walk together in this experience. We hand in hand, step by step. So we decided to establish a course on social entrepreneurship. This was a hybrid course, so different from a traditional course, which meant that students not only had discussions in the classroom, but actually went out there in the real world to see what could work. Our syllabus is a good example of this. It's very visual, it has lots of pictures in it, and very specific purposes identified for the course. The second part of the course was really for students to have an intensive study to see which social entrepreneurship enterprises worked well and which failed. Some of them failed, some of them were inspirational, and we really wanted our students to see what could work for the future. And then the third part was actually to give our students the opportunity to identify an issue that they felt passionate about and really use that to create a social entrepreneurship model. So we did several successful activities in the classroom. One of them was to get students to identify what they were frustrated with. They were often frustrated with queuing in line, limited access, and we asked them how they could use that frustration to motivate them to create an appropriate opportunity for social entrepreneurship.
We also wanted to expose students to role models. And so we've invited speakers to campus to give them real-world examples of social entrepreneurship in action. One example is Andy Shalal, who's the founder of Busboys and Poets here in Washington. And he opened that business in order to encourage people to come together and share culture and the richness of the diversity. And he's encouraged people to come and take over his restaurant for the night and have an ASL night at Busboys and Poets. We also had a student from AU named Diego Marisol, who's from Mexico, and he has mild CP. And he found an organization called Together, the number 2gether, which provides social events for teenagers to show disability as part of human diversity. And his goal is to just break down those barriers between disabled and non-disabled teens and just come together and enjoy one another. And the other guest speaker we've had is Meredith Crane. Meredith has 2 deaf children who went to Gallaudet. And she realized that many deaf women are unemployed. And so she decided to start a business called Keepsake Quilts that provides job and skills training for deaf people, no matter their education. And so the 3 of them are fabulous role models for our students. We've also sent our students out to different businesses in the area here in Washington, and those businesses are run under social entrepreneurship principles, and just to see them in action and see how they run. And so we'd like to bring more role models. There's a conference called the Shift Series here in Washington that brings people from all over the country who have established businesses and are here to discuss and think about what's possible. So Alim and I decided that we could do the same thing. It changed our attitude overnight about our class. It was so inspiring. By the end of the semester, we had the students broken up into teams, and they identified the problems they wanted to address, the things that they were passionate and felt strongly about, and how a business model could be used to address those problems. And we have one presentation that we wanted to show you just as an example of their work.
So after this experience, we decided to develop a second course that was a capstone course. That meant that students in teams identified an issue that they were passionate about and wrote an in-depth business plan that they wanted to actually try and launch as a business here on campus. We created a business competition with those teams, and we invited 2 judges who were willing to actually give money to support those businesses potentially developed, and actually set them up here on campus. So we have an interesting story about one called Think Biz and the other one, Boomerang Cafe. And I'll show you those 2 videos now.
You may be wondering how the work that we're doing applies to the TEDx philosophy. Social entrepreneurship uses businesses to create a self-supporting, sustainable solution to enduring social problems. It uses creativity to change the lives of people all over the world, and they may be in ways big or small. Through the efforts of social entrepreneurs, they realize that they can change attitudes and change lives. They realize that they themselves can become change makers, and again, it can be in ways large or small. So do you stay stuck in a box fighting to get out?
Or do you create a culture of social entrepreneurship here on campus, where students can be creative and innovative and pursue their own passionate ideas to make the world a better place out there?
So now we're trying to figure out next steps. We'd like the university to establish an incubator model. And an incubator is to provide a place with the support and the insurance and the payroll systems that companies need in order to get off the ground. So we would help students establish a business, and then the incubator would help them thrive.
That means that we could have a board of advisors, and they would consist of 3 different constituencies: local entrepreneurs, people high up in big corporations, and of course, philanthropists who would be able to offer advice on the curriculum and mentorship, and also provide internship opportunities and potentially provide funds to support more students develop businesses here on campus.
And of course, we need to have local businesses involved. We want to develop relationships for internships and work experience, management training, to provide customers for student businesses and things like that.
And as Tom has already mentioned, there are many universities here within the DC metropolitan area. And some of them have already set up social entrepreneurship ideas. They're very innovative, very groundbreaking, and we really want to have an opportunity to share those ideas, to build strong partnerships.
We'd like to wrap up with a quote from a gentleman named Bill Drayton. He was a management consultant and really the father of Ashoka, which is a social entrepreneurship organization here in Washington, D.C. And it's the premier organization in the world that supports social entrepreneurship worldwide. He said, "Social entrepreneurs are not content just to give a fish or teach how to fish. They'll not rest until they have revolutionized the fishing industry." I think we probably have enough goldfish. We need some bluefish. We need some buff and blue fish.
Maybe with bow ties too.
Absolutely.
And I suppose lastly, I'd like to say, social innovation makes magic happen. We'd like to see all of our students use their self-analysis skills to discover their passions, set up their ideas, and really share those ideas which are well worth spreading. Thank you.